Welcome back to Music Kingdom. In the spirit of adding variety to this channel, since we have done everything from Metallica to the Bee Gees to Iron Maiden to Michael Jackson to Nickelback, in this video we will be listening to, giving a music theory breakdown for, and having the audacity to review one of the greatest rock songs of all time, Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. Stay tuned. Hi everyone, my name is Francis. If you are a fellow nerd for music, such as myself, and you appreciate not just reactions, but in-depth reviews and analysis of songs, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you'd like to support the work I put into these videos, you'll find various links in the description below. Alright, now before we give the song a listen, first let's briefly talk Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. Stairway to Heaven is from Led Zeppelin's self-titled fourth studio album released in 1971. After the band's previous album, Led Zeppelin IV, received lukewarm reviews from critics, they decided their fourth album would officially be untitled and would be represented instead by 4 symbols chosen by each band member, without featuring the name or any other details on the cover. The album was a commercial and critical success and is Led Zeppelin's best-selling album, shipping over 37 million copies worldwide. With that, it is also one of the best-selling albums in the United States, while critics have regularly placed it highly on lists of the greatest albums of all time. Now, regarding the song Stairway to Heaven specifically, it was composed by the band's guitarist Jimmy Page and lead singer Robert Plant. In addition to the album being regarded as one of the greatest albums of all time, Stairway to Heaven is widely regarded as one of the greatest rock songs of all time. It was voted number 3 in the year 2000 by VH1 on its list of the 100 greatest rock songs, and in 2004 Rolling Stone ranked it number 31 on its list of 500 greatest songs of all time. It was also the most requested song on FM radio stations in the United States at the time, despite never having been commercially released as a single. In addition to all of that, Stairway to Heaven was also selected by the Library of Congress for preservation in the National Recording Registry in 2023, based on its cultural, historical, or aesthetic importance in the nation's recorded sound heritage. So all in all, moral of the story, unless you've been living under a rock, this is one of the most legendary songs in existence. However, and interestingly enough, it is not without its fair share of controversy. In January of 1982, during the Satanic Panic, by the way, the Trinity Broadcasting Network television program named Praise the Lord claimed that hidden messages were contained in many popular rock songs through a technique called backmasking. One example of such hidden messages that was prominently cited was in Stairway to Heaven. The alleged message, which occurs during the middle section of the song, "If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now," when played backward, sounds like, "Here's to my sweet Satan, the one whose little path would make me sad, whose power is Satan. He'll give you 666. There was a little tool shed where he made us suffer, sad Satan," etc. Following the claims, a California assemblyman proposed a law that would require warning labels on records containing backmasking. In April of 1982, the Consumer Protection and Toxic Materials Committee of the California State Assembly held a hearing on backmasking in popular music, during which Stairway to Heaven was played backward, and a self-described neuroscientific researcher claimed that the human brain could subconsciously decipher backward messages. Now you guys will have to tell me what you think, but ultimately I just enjoy the history lesson and the historical context. Alright, at long last it's time we give the song a listen, and just a heads up, I will be pausing a few times to avoid any potential copyright strikes, but as usual, be sure to stick around after the song for a music theory breakdown from our expert, and then we're going to divide the song into specific categories, grading them each, averaging them out, and arriving at an overall score. I've always found the introduction to be stunning. The usage of various instruments. And really lulling you in, as opposed to just coming out and smacking you, which is what makes the song so great.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she she's buying a stairway to heaven. When she gets there, she knows if the stores are all closed, with a word she can get what she came for. Ooh, and she's buying a stairway to heaven.
It's been such a long time since I really listened to this song, as opposed to it just being on.
To be sure, 'cause you know sometimes words have two meanings. In a tree by the brook, there's a songbird who
And I really love
sings.
his soft voice.
Sometimes all of us
I like that it's being showcased in a song like this. Thoughts at this point, as mentioned, beautifully crafted introduction. I'm sure at the time, for many people who were familiar enough with Zeppelin, but maybe not into Zeppelin, were perhaps when they first heard this song thinking it was going to be some obnoxiously loud rock song. I can only imagine how pleasantly surprised they were to find out that they were capable of so much more than just a loud rock song, and instead were evidently absolute artists. The arrangement of the introduction alone blows me away, and there is still so much song left to enjoy. Beautifully composed, tastefully, like it feels so sophisticated and cultured.
makes me wonder. There's a feeling I get when I look to the west, and my spirit is crying for leaving.
The lyrics,
My thoughts I have seen, rings of smoke through the trees, and the voices of those who stand looking. Ooh, it makes me wonder.
throughout you really just get the sense that this is such art, you know? It just feels very artistic, is my point.
Really makes me wonder.
Intentional.
And it's whispered that soon, if we all call the tune, then the piper will lead us to reason, and a new day will dawn for those who stand long, and the forests will echo with laughter.
Thoughts at this point, the writing in this song is just fabulous. It has a way of really keeping you engaged and makes the song what it is, which in my opinion is this epic journey. I think when we look back on music history, a lot of people are quick to name other more notable writers: Billy Joel, Neil Diamond, Barry Gibb, Paul Anka, etc. And so I get why a band like Led Zeppelin would be dismissed, but no. All the while, the musicianship in this song as well is beautifully matching with the writing and slowly changes and evolves in subtle ways as the song progresses. In pretty much every regard, this song is just fantastic. And you would think you'd get, not bored, but you'd think, okay, where's it going? Or maybe it's redundant, but in my opinion, it's not at all. You just become more entranced, in my opinion.
If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alone there. It's just a sprinkling for the May Queen. Yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on.
Beautifully written.
but you don't.
I am enjoying this so much.
I first calling you to join him.
I mean, I always enjoy songs I review on this channel,
Dear lady,
but perhaps some more than
can you
others.
hear the wind blow? And did you know your stairway lies on the whispering wind?
Thoughts by now. I feel kind of bad because, I mean, what hasn't been said about this song already by anybody in the past, 50 years? So it's not like I'm teaching you anything. But in the spirit of just experiencing and admiring this song together, it really is just amazing and is another reason why the 1970s will forever be my favorite decade of music, regardless of genre. The creativity in that decade alone, for whatever reason, was just off the charts. The originality, the authenticity, the artistry. In addition to that, knowing very well what the usual style of vocals is with this band, and knowing how the song will end, it's almost as if it makes you appreciate the softer vocal style beforehand even more. So that by the time it gets to the conclusion, you are just so ready for it, and that contrast absolutely smacks you. Transition. I realize it's no metal guitar solo, but the beauty in its melody and the way it flows. And now the rock vocals. Quintessential Zeppelin sound. Holy hell, the entire song is a slow burn just to get to the sound that they usually make otherwise. And it's so satisfying.
She's buying a stairway to heaven.
Masterpiece. Alright, initial thoughts before we go to the experts corner and before grading the song. At this point, honestly, what more can I say? And again, what hasn't been said? I guess what I will say is that assuming we've all heard this song before, and not just once or twice, but billions of times, hopefully this time around you've been able to listen to it perhaps a bit more intentionally. Speaking for myself at least, and obviously because that's what I do on this channel, but it really was so nice to just immerse myself in it, melt into it, and appreciate all the ways that the song absolutely thrives, the intricacies, whether it be the production, the writing, the vocals, the originality, etc., which I'll get to more specifically and in depth when I'm breaking apart the song and grading each category. But first, let's go to the experts corner for a music theory breakdown and to see how he grades the song's composition.
Welcome to the Experts Corner. This is Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin, and I'm here to give it a composition score. This song is in the time signature of 4/4, and it's in the key of A minor. For those of you who already know and love this song, it should come as no surprise to you that I think the song's composition is stellar. But before I get into why, let me show you a little bit of the main chord progression that we hear throughout most of the song. It really is beautiful and so unique. You've got A minor, E over G sharp, with like a flat 5 in there, C over G, D over F sharp, F major 7, G major, A minor. In action, it sounds a little more like this. And then it continues on, going into different combinations of chords, different progressions, all of them very unique and beautiful. The composition of this song is wonderful in so many different ways. For me personally, the highlight is just the intricacy of the arrangement. It feels like a meticulously crafted work of art, and I think it's really beautiful. I love all of the guitar tracks in the beginning, how they're layered on one another. I love when flutes get thrown into the mix. I love the fact that this song is kind of like two songs in one from the beginning to the end. It's so different. The guitar solo is fantastic and melodically brilliant. And the chords themselves, while not super crazy, not super complex, they're original, they're unique. It's a type of originality that's just not considered cool anymore, and so unfortunately we have to go back to the 70s to find it. Overall, excellent composition. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Back to you, Francis.
A very special thank you to our expert for providing a music theory breakdown and giving the song's composition an amazing and rare 9 out of 10. And now it's time to break apart the song into 4 more categories, grading them each, averaging them out, and arriving at an overall score. Starting with the category of production specifically, I'm inclined to give it a great 8.5 out of 10. As mentioned a billion times on this channel, regarding the genre of hard rock or metal, production is typically going to be more difficult to assess given the fact that these genres are produced minimalistically, so that they can be more easily replicated when performed live. That being said, in this song, you can absolutely admire its production and arrangement. The easiest and most obvious example would be those first couple of minutes of the song. Various instruments being used, tastefully put together, eventually knowing when to transition and knowing how to transition. Not to mention the slow burn approach to the song, which yes, does go hand in hand a bit with composition, but still ultimately a great job. Little details like that, just to name a few, are terrific examples of how intentional this song was produced. Moving on to the category of lyrics, I will be giving them an amazing and rare 9 out of 10. I won't be too redundant because I have mentioned them a number of times so far, but really, in my opinion, they are perhaps the strongest attribute of this entire song. It is legendary songwriting that also, as mentioned, keeps you engaged on the journey throughout. And it is an 8-minute song that is not easy to do, especially when the first, 6 minutes of it are more or less the same. Damn near poetic, absolutely entrancing, and evidently controversial enough to warrant accusations of backmasking. Regardless, absolutely beautiful. Songwriters of today should take note. 9 out of 10. Alright, up next we've got the category of vocals, which I will be giving a great 8.5 out of 10. This one was a bit interesting for me because on one hand, a majority of the song have nice vocals but not necessarily impressive vocals. And then the final minute or two of the song have very impressive vocals. So as a whole, if you were to combine them, I would say maybe a 7, which is good, and a 9, which is amazing, averaged out to an 8, which is great. But I'm adding the bonus 0.5 because of how they were used. I would say it was very clever to do them and use them in such a way in this song. Not only do they more accurately match the mood of the lyrics and the composition of the song musically, but the ending of the song would not be the ending of the song if they did not intentionally keep it slow and soft all the way through. Little things like that matter, to me at least, and so 8.5. Alright, arriving at our final category of originality, I'm inclined to give it the most rare, perfect 10 out of 10. We are talking about one of, if not arguably the greatest, rock song of all time. A song that is so genuinely iconic, and I hate when people use the word iconic lightly. It was culturally significant, it was influential. Even people who aren't into rock music probably know the song. And as also mentioned, it was selected by the Library of Congress for those reasons. So in addition to all of that context, which in my opinion has a lot to do with how original a song is, then you look at the song itself with its outstanding composition, its exceptional songwriting, the great production, the exquisite vocals. All in all, top to bottom, what you have is a masterpiece. And what is a masterpiece if not a 10 out of 10? Thanks, Led Zeppelin. So now if we add it all up, including the expert's composition score, and average it out, Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin from their 4th studio album released in 1971 gets an amazing 9 out of 10, which easily has to be one of the highest scores we have ever given any song on this channel. However, some people might think it is a bit overrated or at the very least overplayed. So in the comments, let me know whether you think I am batshit crazy, right on the money, or somewhere in between, as well as what other songs by Led Zeppelin or whoever else you would like for this channel to review next. As mentioned, if you are a fellow nerd for music, such as myself, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you'd like to support the work I put into these videos, you'll find various links in the description below. This has been another edition of Music Kingdom. Thank you so much for listening with me, and I'll look forward to jamming with you in the next one.